Yeah, Bill, when it comes to the success of Justin Fields, I know it will end up being him understanding when teams are blitzing, especially off the edge. And last game, it seems, of course, offensive line protections are out of his control, but it seems like he was unaware of when blitzes were coming his way. Did you have conversations with him about, I don't know, developing that sixth sense of knowing when it's coming or being more aware of when that blitz is coming his way?
You remember in the preseason when he had his helmet knocked off? Joe, do you remember that one? That was unaware of a blitz that he was responsible for. He learned. If something is his responsibility, then he's got to know when it's coming. If something is to be picked up, then part of him has to trust that the protection is going to pick it up, and part of him, which is easy to say, hard to do. I guess the easiest term people, or the common term people use is to feel the protection and feel that you have to move away from it. Well, his focus is down the field. So if something's supposed to be picked up, certainly there are times when he's going to move into the soft spot of the protection. But I'm trying to recall in the game if there was one that he was responsible for that he didn't see, and I can recall the one in the preseason when his helmet was knocked off. But I think he's actually doing pretty well.
Next question, Colleen Kane.
Hey, Bill, I know you've said in the past that Justin has done pretty well in taking corrections and coaching. I'm just wondering, after a loss like that on Sunday, how he's been doing with that this week.
Oh, I think he's been doing great. I think if a performance that you personally feel isn't a great or is a lesser performance, if that causes you to be different, then it's going to be a long career. I think you have to be the same as far as the way you approach the plane ride home, the next day, watching the tape. I mean, there's just going to be so many ups and downs in this game. And so that's why, as you mentioned, we've talked about it before. That's why I think his approach and his mentality, his steadiness is the right way. Not that you can't be emotional, not that you can't get excited, not that you aren't high and low over what's happening with your teammates at the time. But as far as just your performance and your long-term vision, I think that's the best way to go, because there are going to be so many ups and downs. I mean, I feel it like when we have a game when we score 3 points, I'm on the plane ride home watching the tape, watching the video, what could I have done better? How could I have helped? I mean, so we're talking about Justin, but I think as coaches, we go through the same thing, the ups and downs of a 14-point game, a 3-point game. Well, that's not good enough. And so we just try to turn vision back to ourselves and what could we have done better in game planning and preparation or game day. So we all go through it, and just got to fix it and keep going. It's a long haul.
Next question, Jason Leisure.
Bill, can you hear me?
Yes.
All right. I had trouble with this yesterday, so I wanted to make sure. With Matt Nagy being an offensive-minded coach and a quarterback-minded coach, how do you think it affects Justin this week not to have him around when he's been around his entire career? Well,
he's around. He's involved. He's in the meetings virtually, like you are. You're involved right now, Jason. So I think Justin will continue to feel Matt's presence. Is it exactly the same? No. But Matt's been involved in all the game planning. He's been involved in the player meetings. So last year, unfortunately, prepped all of us for when these things have to happen. None of us enjoy being back on virtual meetings when we have to, but that's, at least we know how to do it, and we've dealt with it before. The mindset we've talked about, the whole team, or offensively, I should say, is we're professionals. Regardless of the situation we're put in, we have a goal, which is to win the game this week. We can't let anything get in the way. And I think, I don't think any of you would be surprised, at least from observation, that that's exactly how Justin's approaching it. And so is Coach Nagy.
Next question, Mark Potash.
Hey, Bill. Why have you been unable to parlay running game success into passing game success? In theory, when you run well, you're supposed to be able to open things up and play action and things like that, yet you're 6th in rushing and 32nd in passing. Why is that?
Well, I don't think the ability to run the ball statistically has almost zero to do with the effectiveness of play action pass. Like teams that don't run the ball still are effective in play action pass. So running the ball right now effectively helps us get first downs more than maybe it has at times in the past, which helps keep us on the field. So it gives us more opportunities. But we've got to be better in almost every single aspect of the passing game. I mean, our details in pass protection, our details in route running, our details in the decision making and the throwing at quarterback, and then putting it all together. I mean, it's hard for, and there are good individual performances. I'm not saying no one is playing well, but to be honest, I mean, when you're 32nd and probably still, I mean, sometimes I check the stats before all the games finished for the weekend, but I'm assuming we're still 32nd in sacks per pass attempt, 32nd in passing yards per game, 32nd in passing yards per pass attempt. I mean, so to stand up and say there's a bright spot would be pretty ridiculous, I think.
But
So
why?
anyway, the answer to your question, I don't think it has anything to do with the run game. I think it has to do with we have to be better with the details of the pass game, fitting it together, making the plays when they're available. And when I say making the plays, I don't just mean jumping up and catching the ball. I mean blocking the person we're supposed to block, being together with how we're going to block it, the timing of the quarterback, matching the timing of the firmness of the protection, matching the timing of the routes. You know, when you're 32nd, we could spend a lot of time talking about this.
Next question, Adam Johns.
Hey, Bill. Yesterday, Justin said that him and the receivers were going to have their own Zoom meetings, and they were going to watch film together and discuss potential route changes and stuff like that. I'm curious what you thought of Justin's initiative on that, and then how would you like him to relay some of that information to you from their meetings, you know, as their play caller?
Well, the communication is pretty constant throughout the week as far as how we're adjusting things, and whether it be audibles, whether it be built-in adjustments that are just inherent to the routes, or whether it be hand signals that happen on the field. So it's really constant. The quarterbacks also meet with the linemen without us and talk about their protection adjustments. So those communications aren't unique. You know, that kind of happens as we go, and hopefully we all feel like we're all in it together. And you know, that's it. Maybe the fact that they have to do it in Zoom because of what's happened this week is unique, but those kind of meetings occur pretty much constantly.
Next question, Matt Zahn.
Bill, I'm just curious how game day may look differently for you if Matt Nagy isn't able to be there Sunday.
Thought about it some, but I, you know, at this point of the week, we're just looking forward to getting a little sleep tonight. So the details of all of it, I think, will come forward. We've talked about it a little bit and thought about it a little bit, but I don't really have anything to add other than the obvious.
Next question, Dan Wiederer.
So where are you guys at right now sorting through the right tackle position and what your options, plan B, plan C would be going into Sunday?
I think it will probably take the week's worth of practice to detail it, just to see guys who are able to practice, when they're able to practice, and how they look. So any details I gave you right now would be about as they were at the beginning of the week. Let's see who can practice, when they can practice, when they're back, you know, when they're back available to be here, and then just see how they look. So it's truly one this week where you're practicing your way into it, and we'll figure out. We have a lot of options, and we just have to we'll have to make the determination on the best one.
Larry Borum's obviously working his way back into practice. What
Yes.
do you want to look at these next few days, next few weeks to kind of get a feel for where he's at coming back from a pretty extended absence?
Well, I think the training staff has probably done a detailed job with him as far as physically how he's back, as far as the injury, how he feels, what the amount of reps he's ready for. I think for the coaches, it's just a matter of how in sync he is with the timing of things adjusting, hearing calls, making changes, like the basic things. If they just line up and play, I think we know what his ability level is and we feel great about it. But that's the hard part is you get to this point in the season, the defense is doing more. We've put in a lot more adjustments to different defensive looks. Can he hear those calls from James Daniels and quickly make the adjustment and see the defense change? You know, is he up to speed in essence? Because doing it and having adjustments happen quickly is a lot harder in person than different in person than just standing watching at practice. So I think as a coach, those are the kind of things that, you know, if a stun or blitz happens on third down where the inside linebacker that the guard has comes all the way outside, is he ready to make that adjustment with the guard at the speed it's going to happen on Sunday? Those are the kind of things we have to see what he's up to speed. The physical readiness from the injury, that's up to him and the medical staff.
Last question, Pat Finley.
Hey, Bill, yesterday Justin was talking about how he's allowed to be hard on himself when he makes a mistake that he knows not to do, but he tries to let it go when there's something he's never seen before and he doesn't make the right decision. Have you seen that with him? And he seems like a guy that could be his own toughest critic. Is there do you need to kind of help monitor that and how he, you know, reacts to one mistake versus another?
Well, I think Justin has a lot. Someone asked earlier, right, about Coach Nagy being a quarterback guy and his relationship with Justin, and Justin has a lot of support, I'd say, from the coaches and from the other quarterbacks. So, you know, I think when we're working together throughout the course of the week, or the guys who are on the sideline with him, I think there's a lot of support to kind of help gauge where he is and keep it. There hasn't had to be a lot done, in my opinion, with him, but it's a learning process. So he's gonna have his ups and downs, and I think Coach DiFilippo is gonna be very skilled and experienced in when's the time to get strict, when's the time to pat him on the back, you know, and keep him going. That's coaching. That's dealing with people. That's what we all do every day, and so it's really no different. And you just happen to be doing it at a place where all the cameras are on you while you're doing it on the sideline. But other than that, it's no different than how people deal with each other and support each other. So we're here to help them learn through it. But, you know, I wouldn't downplay the fact that he's had to do this in his life before. He's had to do it in high school. He's had to do it in college. You know, he's successful because he's able to handle those things. So we're just here to support him when it comes to the ups and downs.
Great. Thank you, Coach.